mock tests from past 4 days.
Okay.
In those mock exams, uh, I observed a change in comprehension passages. Actually, when I reading those comprehension passages, what I observed is I analyzing question he is asking from author view or the from the passage. So I segregate those questions in those manner. So in those mock exams also, I scored well in comprehension phase. These are the things I have done. And meanwhile, I go with all those subjects and paper readings. That's it.
What about you, Susmita?
And read newspaper daily. I think I include articles.
Sushmita, your voice is not clear.
You turn off your
Sir, you are
video,
in mute.
Susmita, and yeah, if it is okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Unfortunately, we have a power outage. So sorry for this inconvenience, sir.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, sir. Sir, I think I'm improved in understanding levels in articles and some topics in newspaper. And I followed some arithmetic and reasoning YouTube channels, sir. These days I've present అయితే చేశాను.
Okay, so Deepika has done a few tasks. So she has got few inputs and her experiences have taught certain issues. And maybe from reading comprehension point of view, we may probably get some clarity with the today's topic. I'd like to deal with the strategies of reading. This is going to be the last module. Later on, we will start the next topic under this particular English syllabus for IAF. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Looking at a few things that you have already learned, but a few different things, specifically reading strategies. So what are we going to learn from reading strategies? Look at this learning objectives in this module, understanding different reading skills. So knowing vocabulary skills, analyzing eye reading and discussing how to develop visual perception skills, knowing how to identify prediction techniques, identifying scanning skills, knowing skimming skills, analyzing intensive strategies, and discussing how to distinguish between facts and opinions and draw inferences. From all these things towards your examination, something that is very much useful to you will be second one, third one, and fourth one. These three plus next to two, 5 and 6, scanning and skimming. That's it. So these things are very much essential. We'll have to take a look at them. So knowing vocabulary skills. Friends, look at this. It's a complex process. It's a complex process, and rapid reading skills include prediction, scanning, and skimming skills. And while intensive reading involves a detailed reading, a critical reading, and inferential skills. So, as there are two types basically, rapid reading and intensive reading. So, what do you mean by rapid reading? In this rapid reading, we will save time. We will include prediction because when something is very close to our guessing and identification, we might connect and link it with the previous knowledge and get the ideas. Where we use in order to save time, basically certain techniques such as scanning, skimming. Intensive reading involves detailed reading. If you feel that you still have time to manage with this particular section, you may just do intensive reading. But when you are not sure if the subject is foreign to you, then you may have to, keep it aside. In intensive reading, basically, the students will be doing, critical reading. So critical reading and detailed reading, in which word by word, phrase by phrase, certain definitions of facts and certain things. And here inferential skills are also there. Guessing concepts are also there. Look at this point. Depending on the purpose of reading, the reader will require different reading strategies and skills in order to understand the subject, content, and language patterns of a message. These skills include vocabulary skills. Look at this point. Depending on the purpose of reading, why are you reading this? To find the answers for your questions. You are not going to read for your pleasure. First point. You are not going to read it for writing a descriptive answer for the question. You're not reading it to tell someone a tale. Your identification of marks, your identification of answers for the questions is your top priority, for which you just read. So you may have to be very selective in reading. Do not kill your time just casually spending time on the passage. Takes a few cues here. Those might be useful to you here. The thing is, vocabulary skills. You need to be specifically learning vocabulary skills, visual perceptual skills, rapid reading skills, and intensive reading skills. If you can focus on these things, you're going to make good progress in this. Rapid reading skills include prediction, scanning, skimming skills, while intensive reading involves detailed reading, critical reading, inferential skills. So these 6 points are very, very important: skimming, scanning, inferential skills, as well as prediction techniques, and some detailed reading, critical reading. So these features of reading will help us become better of any one of the aspirants of that particular examination. So let's take a look at these points one after the other. So vocabulary skills. What do you mean by vocabulary skills? What do we have to be careful about? Under vocabulary skills, recognizing the definitions of the words being used. The words which are used in the text comprehension passage may be difficult for us, but we need to be able to recognize the definitions. So it is always advisable to start reading certain standard English papers. Keep reading journals, keep reading English texts, measure your speed levels. Second one, guessing the meaning of words from the structure. Yes, it's always passive, and it is to become active, we have to spend time. So guessing is going to be a very, very important phenomenal strategy. We ever always get marks, friends, with guessing. But people with bad guessing, or maybe those who are poor at identification of various clues, might go wrong, as their mind doesn't support and it's not supportive of the certain requirements. But you need to be cautious with this particular point. Inferring the meaning of words from the context. Sometimes context helps understand. So in order to have complete familiarity with the context, as well as guessing words and being familiar with structures, we ought to be always good readers. At least a minimum 5 to 6 months of reading of various texts daily for 30 minutes to 1 hour is highly recommended. Let's take a look at what visual perceptual skills stands for. Accuracy. Accurate visual perception of words and phrases. Sometimes we might mistakenly, consider one option to the other, and we think it's correct. We don't actually identify this is something. We just forego out of our ignorance, maybe being very agile or quick enough in terms of handling the questions, we tend to make mistakes that can probably be avoided in order to secure good marks. So accuracy in visual perception. Perception is feeling that we just get an idea based on words and phrases. For instance, when you just read a sentence like, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? This in the statement, how a winter season usually is, and spring season is, and what happens one season after the other season. This is a visual perception. Just you imagine, and you will get the core idea of that particular context. This is what you need to understand. Visual perception helps. For this, we need to imagine a lot. Imagination helps us. Next, quick eye fixations. Quick eye fixations means we should not give too many options while we fix the answers for the questions. And once we become certain about certain answers for the questions, we have to be thorough with them, and we need to stick to them. That's all. We cannot keep changing options. This could be this, let me get back, or let me see another question. If I have time, I'll get back. That could be okay. But if you just keep lingering around only 1 or 2 points, maybe you're going to kill time. That's not really healthy attempt. So you need to be careful. Prediction techniques. Using index or chapter headings to predict the theme of the text well. When you read a title particularly, you will automatically guess what might be the entire central idea. So that's one of the issues usually we do in our academic English classes also. And guessing to predict information. This is again one of the vocabulary skills or perceptual skills again. Scanning graphic or non-verbal context such as graphs, diagrams, charts, and so on to predict the nature. Scanning skills. Scanning. So under prediction techniques, the best thing is, we may have some diagrams, charts, and all these things. You definitely have had a lot of practice while you were studying here at your BTech or degree level. You will come across various tasks such as identification of a syllogism, as well as doing some analogy and various aspects under reasoning concepts. So those techniques would also be helpful here. So prediction, nature, and scope of content, everything will be clear if you just have got some skills in this area. Let's take a look at what scanning skills are. Locating specific information. Please remember, when you are reading a particular comprehension passage, locate specific information. How would you be able to locate specific information? When you have read the question. I tell you time and again, keep it there. I tell you time and again, please understand, you're not reading it for pleasure. You're not reading it for GK, general knowledge. You are not reading to update your knowledge. You are reading it for just to finding the answers for the questions. So that's your objective. So in order to save time, saving time should be our priority in the COMPETENT examination. So you are just doing very strategically. So the strategic aspect here is supposed to be very much selective. Then you need to locate specific information. What do you mean by specific information? It is with regard to the question being asked in the examination. When you have absolutely just to kind of force some in your thought that, okay, it is this, that's all. I just have to fix this. You just have to understand the question, and accordingly you will have to go ahead to find the answers for that. Second, that's scanning skills, and that's the only one thing that has been discussed. If someone asks you what scanning skills stands for, you might probably say locating specific information. So you don't have to read all this stuff, but you have to just do a bird's eye view. That's going to be easy. Skimming, identifying a theme or central idea. Yes, when you just read the title, it will become crystal clear, and you will understand this is going to be the central idea of this and theme of this. And identifying main ideas. Main ideas are actually projected in each paragraph, preferably in the first 1 or 2 sentences. Remember this point. When you have to say something, 1 or 2 sentences, the very first sentences, 1 or 2 sentences would be the skimming skills. I mean, they would be the topic ideas, and topic sentences are somehow the main points would be present in the paragraph. So some supporting details are given after. These are the things that you need to do, and later, identifying organizational patterns. What do you mean by organizational patterns? What kind of fiction jargon specifically technical words, that's nomenclature. And coming to language usage in syntax, has the sentences has the writer kept the sentences in a simple manner? Are they simple sentences or complex or compound sentences? Or is it rather difficult to understand, like an editorial column of any standard English newspaper? So you need to be clear with these things, then it's going to be nice. So under skimming, we just identify the theme, central idea, as well as we just identify the main ideas, and we identify organizational patterns of writing. By knowing these things, well, the student will be able to manage with the exam well. Last one, intensive reading. What do you mean by intensive reading? Intensive reading stands for, reading for details. But this has to be done only when you have time. This could be the secondary, aspect, intensive reading. When you are not sure, you still feel you have time. You have been able to finish all other areas under English category, vocabulary, for instance, synonyms and antonyms, or error detection, and identification of mistakes in the sentence, any other sort of questions being asked in that particular exam. If you are able to manage with them, if you still feel that you have time, please focus on intensive reading, because you may have to leave certain questions before the time gets winded up. Then you may just leave certain questions when you are really sure that you can still handle them, at least just before 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 3 minutes, that would still be counted well. So you can just think of that particular aspect. Intensive reading should be the second priority for any reading comprehension, taker, but it should absolutely be the second attempt. That's it. In the first attempt only, in rapid reading only, the students will gain marks. So that's what I just can tell you. And in this, let me just give you a few ideas which are being present here. So reading for details, critically reading a text to distinguish fact from opinion, what's are facts and what are facts and what are opinions, and identification and evaluation of writer's attitude. Yes, writer's attitude is there. It's a subjective, it's objective view, because we feel always that we are subjective, and means we just give priority for our own ideas. So we need to look at, we need to wear the writer's hat, and then from which we need to assess the text. That's going to be easy if we just think from objective point of view. So identification and evaluation is very important. Understanding the author's intention. But I think these things, these strategies are pretty well, and they can still be executed so well when you just have thorough understanding and command over reading. And when you become clear, when you are reading a newspaper article, please implement these things. I ask all students who watch this video, even on this channel or somewhere, please remember one thing. You are reading for something. What is your purpose? Identify. Are you reading it for pleasure? You don't have to work on these aspects, but still they are going to be useful. Are you reading it for entertainment? You may just still employ, but are you reading it for getting marks in the examinations? Be serious with rapid reading. Second priority should be intensive reading. With this being said, friends, we shall have another session. I just share the content with you, and please, these are the free classes. Any student can join us. This content and discussion, or else this kind of orientation might still be useful for other examinations. I'm not very particular that my lecture or my content is going to be the end in itself and it will help you 100%, but it is going to be kind of scaffolding, and it will be a kind of prop for you, and you might be able to use to add some value to your preparation for competitive examinations or general enhancement of your English language grip. That's all. With this being said, I guess let's wind up today's session and meet for day 6 of Indian Air Force classes, English. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Good night.
Thank you, sir.